The thing with this Cavs team is you can't attribute it to 4 consecutive 100-game long seasons. I talked about with the Warriors all year, right?
Yes.
How hard it is to make 4 finals in a row. There's a reason Jordan never did it. Shaq and Kobe never did it. That it's been Russell Celtics, Bird and Magic in the 80s, and then LeBron's teams, the only teams to do that in NBA history. But the Cavs, they only got 4 guys that have been to 3 straight NBA Finals. LeBron,
yes.
Love, Tristan, JR. Like, George Hill is new. Jordan Clarkson's, Rodney Hood. The guys who look the least happy.
It's the best opportunity of all these guys' career is right now.
Right. There would be more reason for Golden State to be on each other's nerves. Because aside from KD, it's the same group of guys. They've been together the entire time. The Cavs have an entirely new rotation, so there is no excuse for it. There is no justification for it. And Game 2 was an outlier in a lot of ways. This year, regular season and postseason, Jenna, 25 times LeBron James scored at least 30 and had a double-double to go along with it. Now, he had a 40-point triple-double in Game 2, but those thresholds, at least 30 points and at least either 10 rebounds or assists, they were 21-4. That usually was all it took for the Cavs to win. Have LeBron have a monster game, they're going to win. He had a double monster game, 40 points, triple-double.
Didn't win.
And they didn't come close. They turned a 7-point halftime lead into a 13-point loss, a 20-point swing in the second half, despite LeBron playing great. That's what was so disconcerting about Game 2.
Which was the Cavs team you saw show up in the Toronto series? Did that Cavs team look more fun to you? The one that was winning? The one that was owning those Raptors?
Oh, it's fun when your shot's going in.
Basketball is a lot funner, but we were just criticizing the whole team. Remember, they went through 7 games. They only had one guy score 20 points, one 20-point contribution. So we were criticizing them. But in game number 1 in Toronto, it's like going to your favorite restaurant after you've been sick. All of a sudden, I can't eat, my stomach's tight, but this is my favorite spot. That's who Toronto is for the Cavs. And in Toronto, man, that confidence. Watch the beginning, the first quarter of that game. Watch the swag that they played with. Now, it ended up being a tight game that they end up winning, but the start of that game and the overall mentality, it changed. They were sick.
Right.
But then their favorite restaurant came in the Toronto Raptors.
And styles make fights. Toronto is not going to make you work defensively the way the Pacers or the Celtics are. Now, Toronto has more offensive firepower than either of those teams. But the Cavs would love to get into an old-school Denver Nuggets game where you're going up and down the court just trying to outscore people. They play better defense in that setting because their shots are falling, and they do feel like, man, LeBron plus 4 shooters, nobody's had an answer for this lineup in 10 years in the NBA. That's not what the Celtics are trying to do. What did Brad Stevens say before Game 2? Don't let them run.
Yes.
We think we can beat them in the half court. Don't let them run. That's why the others in this game back in Cleveland, they got to get it going offensively. Because I don't trust JR and George Hill and whomever comes off the bench, whether it's Clarkson, I hope not, or Hood, to be locked in defensively unless they're feeling good about their offense. That shouldn't be how it is when you have the NBA Finals on the line, but that's how it's been for this Cavs team throughout these playoffs.
Well, JR's the one that came out and said, we don't want LeBron James to play hero ball. I mean, who else is going to be the guy that steps up? Who else is going to be the guy that helps him play hero?
Kevin Love, Kevin Love is a star. And for me, it's easier to depend on star players. LeBron has been able to depend on him. Tristan Thompson has provided a boost for them coming off the bench. High pick and roll, energy, been able to play at the rim. But you got to have guys make shots to open up the court. Guys like Rodney Hood. Man, Jetty, man, if he's going to play.
Jetty Osman.
Hey, man. Like, I love to see Jetty. He does provide energy and everything. But at the end of the day, man, you got to be able to make buckets and you got to be able to get stops. If they don't play some better defense, man, this series is going to be over with.
Listen, the Cavs have played with their season on the line, Game 7 against Indiana. They didn't play great. LeBron played great. They didn't play great, and they escaped. Their season's on the line Saturday. Like I said after Game 2 for the first time all year, I'm concerned, but I'm still picking the Cavs. Listen, I ain't going to come on here Monday, the Cavs down 3-0, and say, don't worry, it's going to be fine, because it won't be. Their season will be over. LeBron's time in Cleveland will be over. Mm-hmm. And what Boston's trying to do is something that I can't think of a precedent for except for maybe the 04 Pistons, which is go through 3 consecutive rounds where you beat a team where they have the best player. Round 1, Giannis was the best player going into that series. They beat him. Round 2, Simmons and Embiid were the best players we thought going into that series. They beat him. If they top that off by beating the best player in the world in round 3, I mean, it'll be as impressive of a team accomplishment as I can remember. Because it won't be one guy. It won't be just Brad Stevens or Danny Ainge or Terry Rozier or Tatum. Yeah. It'll be everybody.
But that's what's so special about that team, is that they all, as opposed to what we just said was wrong with the Cavs. Like, this is a team that gets contributions from everyone, obviously including the head coach, consistently as a unit throughout the playoffs. And they're more talented.
They got a better roster. Besides the top guy on the roster, they got a better roster. They got a better coach. They got a better roster than the Cavs. And to me, that's the reason why I picked the Celtics to be able to beat the Cavs.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.